It is the Backstage Slam episode number 186 post WrestleMania. I'm Josh. You know, the guy that's not Ben. And speaking of which, Ben won't be joining us tonight because he boycotted WrestleMania for religious reasons. I didn't bother asking what religion it was, but it's pretty irrelevant. But joining him here is the Backstage Slam's newest Discord member, fan. I don't know what the hell to call you right now. So joining us is Anna. How you doing?
Hi. I'm okay at the moment.
Well, we have a lot to unpack and not a whole lot of time to do it because someone's got to get up for bed in the morning. That's me. Did I say get up for bed?
I think you did.
Maybe a long time ago that was the case. But not anymore. I have to get up from bed, go to work in the morning. And we have 2 nights of WrestleMania to cover. So, I mean, what else can we do except remind everybody that you can find me on Twitter at SkidComic. That's kind of, where I do stuff, I guess. Well, okay, Ben is apparently listening. He's in the chat. He said, I did not boycott it, but I will now. And, of course, Amber, I have to get a super shout-out because she's awesome. And having some technical issues. I'm not really sure what else I should say about that, so we'll just leave it at that. Is there anywhere people can reach you on social medias?
I'm sometimes on Twitter still, and Instagram. Both of them are Catwoman618.
Yeah, I get flack all the time for not being very prolific at all when it comes to Twitter. So, hey, if there's somebody around that's on Twitter but using it less than me, at least I have a finger to point now. So there's that.
That would probably be me.
Silver linings and whatnot. And of course, you can always reach Ben at YoBroMMO, who is not boycotting it, or at least he wasn't until I said so. Anyway, hey Ben, WrestleMania
what else would
2
you
nights.
call refusing to watch it?
What's that?
I said, what else do you call refusing to watch it?
Finding something better to watch. Because I know he's going to get around to it because that's what he does. Ben watches everything. Like, literally everything. You thought this thing about the social distancing is new? No. Ben's been doing this for years, making sure that he has enough content to talk about on his streams and on the podcast. Dude is a monster when it comes to soaking in pop culture. And WrestleMania did happen to fall on a week where a lot of anime is dropping. I don't get it, but, to each their own.
I don't get it either, dude. I legit don't get it.
But this isn't the anime bashing podcast. Although now that I think about it, there could be one in the future. Let's break down WrestleMania's 2 nights. The first night, it had 9 matches. We didn't do the pay-per-view prediction game on the off chance that somebody managed to get spoilers and just kind of run the board. It wouldn't have been fair. So, because it was pre-recorded, we decided to skip the pay-per-view prediction game. So, starting off with the pre-show, Cesaro took out Drew Gulak. What can you say about this match? It was a pretty solid pre-show match, in my opinion. 2 guys, solid workers, went out there and got the job done.
Pretty much. Drew's kind of new to me, so I was like, not really sure, like, how I felt about the matchup. But it was a good match.
Yeah, that's what the slot's for, basically. Give two guys that know how to work a chance to put on a wrestling match. In fact, for a period of time, it was almost a sought-after spot to be on the pre-show because you're given a lot more time to work your match. And I think it really worked out in these two guys' favor. Unfortunately, nobody was in there to tell you who the guy to root for is, crowd noise and whatnot. But solid outing, and that led us to the WrestleMania Night 1 proper as the show opened. First, let me get your impressions on Gronk. What did you think about Gronkowski hosting?
No.
No? Oh, right.
Just,
you live in New York, so...
It has nothing to do with that. I'm not even really a huge football fan. However, I loathe the Patriots just based on principle. They're cheaters, and, well, how I feel about those. But, God, he was horrible.
He was Gronk. And, by the way, if you, well, how do I put this? Do you watch The Masked Singer?
Yes.
Are you caught up?
No, I'm not, because I have internet, technically.
Okay, well then I will just move on to the first match. By the way, I didn't mind Gronk hosting. He did what hosts do and became a hype man for the show.
I missed Alexa.
You missed Alexa?
As host.
Gronk was the host.
I know. I missed Alexa being the host.
Oh, you from before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see myself wanting to watch her host over Gronk, but you can tell that he's friends with Mojo, right? They are basically the same guy.
Yeah. I'm not sure what gave it away. It might have been the coat.
Might have been the hype.
Maybe.
So Alexa Bliss, someone you were looking for, missing as being host, and Nikki Cross defeated the Kabuki Warriors for the Women's Tag Team Champions, a championship that I actually forgot existed for a while. But they got 15 minutes, 5 seconds. Nice. That's a good amount of time for these ladies to put on a good match. What did you think of the match? What did you think about the title change?
Yeah, okay. I wasn't actually expecting Alexa and Nikki to win. That kind of came as a surprise. Which I'm happy that they won. Don't get me wrong. I adore Nikki Cross. You have no idea. But I wasn't expecting Asuka and Kairi to lose the belt.
Well, they've been holding on to them for so long without any kind of defense, really. It was 172 days, I think it was, their title reign.
Oh, wow.
So,
I didn't realize it had been that long.
So I think it was probably time to put them on somebody that are actually going to be on TV. And, of course, word has been put in the Discord where you can always jump into the conversation and join us at the YoBro MMO Discord. He was letting us know that Asuka and Kairi's contracts are both coming up soon. Kairi is probably not expected to resign because of, her, what has it been, marriage? She's married to Evil. He'll let me know in a few seconds. But Asuka,
I think she was the one that was married to the other guy who didn't want to sign in the States.
right. And Asuka, has been put about a house. She started, set down roots in the States. So she could be re-signing. And Kairi is apparently looking to make... Okay, Io is married to Evil. And she's expected to head back to Japan soon. So Kairi is the one that's expected to make like 7 figures.
Woof.
In Stardom. Yeah, okay, I got that part right. Didn't mean to get him confused, Ben. That's why you're the, Japanese wrestling expert, not me. But as far as the title change, yeah, it's probably about time. Get him more exposure with Alexa and Nikki. Nikki Cross has been, Ben knows. Ben knows. Then we had Elias, who, thank God, beat King Corbin. I was very happy to see that.
So
not a fan of
happy.
Corbin. Ben is a big Corbin fan, and he was probably very upset when he heard that Corbin lost, unless he's hearing about it right this second.
Ben and I gonna fight then.
Hey, people are allowed to like who they like. Backstage Slam, we're super
Now,
chill.
what got me on that match was I've never actually seen Elias wrestle.
Wow.
I had meant to, after, between them making the match and WrestleMania, to look up some Elias matches and see if, he could actually wrestle. That didn't happen with things going on. And I went, so he's super talented on several instruments, and oh my God, the dude's huge. And he can wrestle.
Elias is incredibly entertaining.
He really is. I love Elias.
Especially when it comes to the songs that he writes for every city he's in, although he hasn't really had a chance to do that much lately, and that's unfortunate.
Wait, he writes those himself?
Yes.
Okay, you're making me like him even more.
Ben says Corbin needs to get back to his NXT persona and maybe cosplay as Jon Snow from Game of Thrones as his king gimmick. Right now he's corny. Yes, Corbin is corny. He's
right now.
I've said it before. I think he would do very well as the leader of a faction. This lone wolf shtick, it's not really working for him, especially when he loses.
I liked him when he first came to WWE, but then he went like corporate or whatever, and no. Like, he shaved his head and put on a suit, and I don't know.
I'd give Ben credit for that, because he didn't care for button-up shirt and tie Corbin either. And he'll correct me if I'm wrong, without a doubt. But rolling on to the next match, Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler. Thoughts?
That was another one I was wrong on. I thought it was a match that was going to, put over Shayna.
I think that's what
I
everybody
was not expecting Becky to keep that title.
You'll notice that out of the two women's title matches, 3, right? Yeah, 3. It was... Well, we'll get to the other one later. I expected Shayna to continue to be beast mode in WWE after getting the call-up. Unfortunately, they basically pulled an Asuka. And, built her up to lose. They made her strong enough for Becky to be stronger coming out of this match. And then who knows what they're going to do with her. So Becky, right now, in my opinion, has no real competitors in the Raw Women's locker room. And this looks like a clear run straight to SummerSlam. Maybe Ronda comes back.
Maybe. Like, I that's just it. Becky has really nowhere to go with the title. That's why I thought it would be, you know, like a boost for Shayna.
Yeah, it seemed like a very good handing off point. A nice place to
especially
take
the way
load off
she
of Becky.
Especially the way she like wiped out, what was it, the chamber? She wiped out everybody?
Mm-hmm. They built her up so much for the sole purpose, it seems, of giving Becky a big win. But Becky's had tons of big wins.
Yeah.
And I don't think it helped Becky as much as some people might think it did. But we will see. Raw just wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. I haven't watched it, so we're not going to be doing any chatting about the follow-up to WrestleMania. I'm not even sure how they shot it, if Orlando's still shut down. So that is something I'm going to be interested in looking into. What's that?
I'm not sure how far ahead they've pre-taped as far as that goes.
Well, the Performance Center was shut down, almost 2 weeks ago. And the last day they were there, they filmed night 2 of WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken. Again, Ben will correct me if I'm wrong. And he also says Becky is going to turn heel soon, so they can make a new babyface star. And he also said Shayna's going to turn on Ronda Rousey when she comes back, and it's going to be a main storyline. Well, that would mean they're starting to put faith in Shayna again, at least enough to give her another good run to go up against Ronda.
How is Becky not a heel now?
I don't know how to answer that question, because she's sitting in a stone cold position of doing heelish things but getting a pop.
Girl needs to be humbled.
Now that's a hot take. Not a Becky Lynch fan, are we?
That's the weird thing. I loved Becky when she first came on the scene, but once she got this title, like, her ego went like to the nth degree, and it's just like, tone it down. Tone it down. It ain't toning down.
But that ego explosion, calling herself the man, is what got her over.
I know, but like, call yourself the man. She's just taking it. And I know it's just her character. I'm sure she's a very sweet person, which means she's doing her job.
Ben's getting behind Liv Morgan and Shotzi Blackheart. 1.5 very good choices. I'm not going to say which one's which.
Liv Morgan's the, like, 1950s sailor chick, right?
No, it's Lacey Evans.
Okay, then I don't know who the other two are.
Liv Morgan was Alexa Bliss light for a while, except
okay,
instead of, like, playing the teenage girl, she was playing, like, a younger teenage girl with the suckers and the pigtails, and it was just awkward at points.
Okay, I know who that one is.
Next up, Sami Zayn, the Intercontinental Champion, defeated Daniel Bryan. Did anybody see this coming?
No. I no. I honestly thought Daniel was going to wipe the floor with him.
Yeah, a lot of people did, and Sami, took to Twitter soon after and said, "You called me a coward, you called me this, you called me that." and he was happy to prove everybody wrong. But of course, I've been a big Sami Zayn mark for a very long time, so this made me very happy. And unfortunately, as good and hell, as great as these guys are, it wasn't the WrestleMania match that I wanted from these guys. They didn't even go 10 minutes, and you had Cesaro and Shinsuke ringside. I want to see these Okay, when Shinsuke first debuted in NXT against Sammy, it was a beautiful thing. It was just a great moment. And I wanted Sammy and Daniel Bryan to get that kind of match where they could just go all out. Because these guys, just one-on-one, no outside shenanigans, just putting on a brutal, technical, somewhat fly-y type match. I want to see that in a WWE ring. I want to see them get some time. I want to see them just tear the house down. This, for me, should have been the match of the night easily on paper. But it was good. It just wasn't what I was hoping for. If that makes any sense at all.
It does seem like it was cut short.
Yeah, and Daniel, Ben said he called it. So he's Daniel Bryan is now, what was that? Been giving back to the company. So there's that. Yeah, Sami Zayn gets a nice win, retains the Intercontinental Championship, 920. They could have gone hours.
Yeah, it seems like it was really, really short, and it should have gone at least 15. It's not like there's a time limit on your own network.
But they were still on pay-per-view. And that's right, people still watch on pay-per-view, believe it or not.
I didn't know they still did that.
Yeah, and they still charge the $60, I believe.
See, I thought that was just a pandemic you can watch on pay-per-view. I didn't know that was like a regular.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Ben says, Vince wants to continue League of Nations. Sammy might recruit another guy, and LON will live on. I remember the original LON, and it's not great. Not great. But rolling on to the next match, we had a triple threat ladder match for the Tag Team Championships, the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and crazy story here. Only one person from each team was there to be in the match. So it was John Morrison, who retained against Jimmy Uso and Kofi Kingston. And I gotta say, it was a pretty damn brutal match, considering no audience. I can't stress that enough. They took some really interesting bumps here for no pop. And when you have a spectacle match like that, that's a good percentage of the spectacle is seeing the crowd go, whoa, and hearing that response. So imagine, John Morrison taking that back bump on the ladder and just nothing.
I didn't realize how much the crowd was. I'm like, oh, it's no big deal that there's no crowd. It's a very big deal.
Very much so. The crowd is a very big part of what makes the WWE what it is. The interaction, and you feel like you're part of the show, and sometimes that is very much the case. And this will be the first Raw after Mania Tonight show that doesn't have this huge international audience in such a small arena to hijack the show. I do you recall, what was it, 3 years ago? Ben, help me out here. 3 years ago, when Roman came out, and it was literally 11 minutes of him being quiet in the ring and the crowd just booing.
Oh, I do remember that.
11 minutes straight. And yelling, F you, Roman, and just all sorts of things.
I never understood, like, the dislike for Roman Reigns to begin, but that 11 minutes, I was just like, are y'all serious?
Well, at the time, this show in particular has a history of saying we do not hate Roman Reigns on the show. We don't agree with the push that he got initially after leaving the Shield. We don't agree with him basically staying the Roman from the Shield, having no character arc, no evolution, or being a hero when he is portrayed as very cocky. As someone, I heard someone say that he's the guy that can walk into a room and knows he can steal your girlfriend, kind of thing. And they never really leaned into it. They never gave him the heel run that every single major star has gotten before they became the face of the company. All of them. Cena, Austin, Rock, Hogan.
I've met Roman. You're right. He probably could walk into a room and steal your girlfriend.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, I hear he's a great guy.
He's so sweet. Like, it was before, like, it was 2015.
Yeah, then
he's a very big boy, but he's probably the gentlest, most soft-spoken person I've ever met.
That's why.
So yeah, he probably could walk in and steal anybody's girlfriend.
He was never a sympathetic character. I think that's the best way to put it. There is no reason for anybody to get behind him and support him. Unless you're, and I hate to be, stereotypical here, but unless you're someone that's into dudes, male or female, whatever. If you're into that sort of thing, you cheer him because he's good looking.
Pretty?
Yeah. If you're a kid, you cheer him because he looks like a superhero.
For some reason, I always liked Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Never cared for Seth Rollins, even as part of the Shield.
It's a nose, isn't it?
I never noticed his nose, so no.
But yeah, Ben said the only thing Roman said during that 11 minutes of fan recognition is, "It's my yard now. Drop the mic and left." that 12-minute promo was, 4 words? It was a great moment, though. And unfortunately, nothing ever came of it, as far as advancing the Roman Reigns character.
Yeah, that whole yard, that didn't come out until, this year with the whole dog food thing?
What's that, the Roman Reigns' yard?
And the whole big dog thing, they're taking, 3 years in between his boosts?
He's main evented the last 4, 5 WrestleManias.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been getting that number 1 spot, and a lot of fans feel like it was kind of undeserved. Drew McIntyre went through the same thing many years ago when he was the chosen one. But without breaking down every sick bump from this ladder match, John Morrison just managed to unvelcro the titles and fall backwards to retain for himself and The Miz. And there was one bump that I want to talk about in particular. Jimmy was on a ladder inside the ring, and it was knocked over, and he spilled out straight to the floor. I was like, there's got to be something out there to catch him, right? Is there a ladder? Is there a table, something for him to, go through to kind of take the brunt of the fall? And when I saw that there was nothing out there, I was like, why would they do that? Why would you do a straight bump to the floor from the top of a ladder inside the ring? That's nuts. And then later on, according to Meltzer, that was an editing trick. And I did feel kind of stupid because, it's the kind of stuff that, I've done before. Stop the camera. Have a crash pad off, just off screen. So when he's going down, you cut before he hits the pad, but, he hits the pad, he's safe. And then you move the pad and get the reaction, get the fallout, if you will. So I am glad to hear that's if Meltzer was right, that they took a lot of extra safety precautions in things like this, because when there's no audience, there's no reason to take dumb risks. And I know it sounds bad for me to say that, well, when there is an audience, you should take dumb risks. No. You should always be as safe as possible. But what I'm saying is, you're allowed to get away with a lot more and actually make things look a lot more brutal without the audience. And I think that really worked out for this ladder match.
It was a good match. The end was bullcrap.
Oh, that's because you wanted the New Day to win.
I would have been okay with either the New Day or Jimmy Uso. However, I was super excited for John Morrison to come back because I like John Morrison. Say it's because I'm a chick, I don't care. That's part of it. But he's also super talented. I've always liked John. I like his high-flying acrobatics, and he entertains me. However, the minute he walks back into WWE, he gets tangled up with The Miz, and it made me unhappy. Because now it's like Miz 2.0, and I don't like it.
I don't think I've ever really had a chance to talk about John Morrison coming back to the WWE, especially the part where he's, hooked up with The Miz again. I don't mind it. It gives him an end. It makes him somebody immediately. Because he was gone for a long time.
He's been gone for a while, but, he's a name that everybody knows. He came back with the same name. It's not like it's a new gimmick or a new persona or he's some mystery character that came back. Everybody knows John Morrison. He doesn't need The Miz to help him come back. That and The Miz annoys me.
Fair enough.
The Miz has annoyed me for a very long time.
So, in the next match of the night, Kevin Owens faced off against Seth Rollins. And, I had a hard time wrapping my head around this one because it went 17 minutes. And was this... What do you call this? Because at one point, Kevin Owens is like, let's make this a no disqualification match. No, he's Canadian, so he said a. Okay, he didn't. But the rules just went to just become a no DQ match, and it happened?
I guess. He grabbed Mike and said, no, come back here, and let's make this a no disqualification, and it was just a stupid grudge match, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Nothing
I'm not.
really
I'm not even sure how they came to be feuding. So I'm not sure what this grudge is all about. Wasn't Kevin gone for a while?
He was. I don't recall how it all started either, to be honest.
Oh, okay. And I'm like, oh, okay, they've got a match at WrestleMania. Well, like I was happy that like he's all of a sudden let's make this a no DQ match, and I'm like, okay, so he's not gonna let Seth walk away. That's kind of cool. And then I'm like, wait a minute, dude, you can't even stand.
And then he came back to beat Seth Rollins, and as commentary made note, he's using the same bell that was used against him.
That had to hurt.
Yeah, that was some definite solid dings there.
Yes.
But I think we've already talked about this match too much, to be honest. So Kevin Owens beat Seth Rollins. And let's move on to the WWE Universal Championship in one of the biggest, most hyped, longest running storylines in the WWE. Wait, hold on. I'm getting something from my producer. This match was put together in 5 minutes a week ago. Okay, so the shortest, most underhyped match in WWE WrestleMania history, especially for a title match, by the way. And from what I understand, the only explanation or the only thing said on SmackDown was, oh, and Braun Strowman's going to be facing Bill Goldberg. No reason given for Roman's, conspicuous absence.
I'd heard rumors of that for like the last week, but it was because he didn't want to risk because he's immune deficient. He didn't want to risk it.
Right, the reports that The Miz showed up to the WrestleMania taping sick. And Ben and I, we talked about this last week, and Ben reported that Miz was told to report to work, and Roman did not appreciate that. And like you said, he's immunodeficient, so being there was not a good idea for Roman if Miz is sick, considering the pandemic status right now.
Yeah, it's total. And like I'd heard or had read reports that they were being super accommodating to Roman because of it, and I'm like, well, yeah, they kind of have to.
Ben says he feels bad because his input on 2 matches got ignored. Well, you know what, Ben? I don't think your computer's broke. You could always jump in the call, bro. You could always jump in, bruh.
Is he scared of little old me because I said we gonna fight?
Ben scared? Pfft, probably. I'm just messing, man. I needed to say something to something. Braun Strowman, Bill Goldberg. A match that was literally advertised for 10 seconds? Maybe 10 seconds? Okay. Ben has a good reason. I'm not gonna... Well, it's a public chat. He has family over, so he's not gonna be able to join us on the show tonight. That's what the reason was. So, Braun Strowman actually beats Bill Goldberg.
That made me happy.
Braun Strowman beats Bill Goldberg in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Goldberg got Goldberg.
I was hoping for a longer match between 2 fairly big guys like that.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. Goldberg has never been able to work for more than 3 minutes. Even in his prime.
Oh. That's a shame. Like, it seems like he could do some fairly spectacular things in the ring if he had the
conditioning? Lung capacity?
stamina.
Look, I'm not gonna make any knocks against Bill Goldberg.
Oh no, absolutely not. Like those 2 minutes and 10 seconds were a pretty good match.
He knows what he needs to do to make the crowd move, and in this business, I think that's really the most important thing. We've seen many, 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 many wrestlers over the years that could put on 5-star classics every night. But when it comes to fan reaction, nothing. Lance Storm comes to mind. Technically proficient in every way, just had the personality of a goldfish. Ben wants me to say, Morrison will have a long push-ish. Then he'll be putting people over on his way out. KO had an issue with Rollins. How about he was entitled and was using his, quote, Messiah moniker as false advertisement? Universal title match. Ben hated the Universal title match. It was finisher spamming, just like the Brock versus Drew match. There was no substance to it. We haven't gotten to the Brock versus Drew match, so we'll get to the comparisons when we talk night 2. So much for sleep tonight. We're 41 minutes in and haven't even gone through night 1. So, Braun Strowman is the new WWE Universal Champion, and I say so much for sleep because guess what? This one, God, Ben, I wish you were on here. We got to talk about the Boneyard match. This has got to be the single greatest non-ring match I have ever seen. Ever. Period. And it is the best outing from The Undertaker in years.
I didn't get to see it Saturday night because the network messed up at my friend's, and I was watching it on Facebook, and I just caught it on YouTube the next day, and I'm just like, this is pretty freaking cool.
It is so very cool.
And after weeks of seeing AJ run his mouth to The Undertaker and bring up Michelle and, using the...
Mm-hmm. You there?
But, even you could tell, where they'd stopped and edited it. I'm not sure if that was intentional. Because it was, jumpy in places.
Oh, yeah. It took 9 hours to film.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's insane. But, it was some pretty top-notch performing from both of them, though. Watching AJ grovel and beg, that was fantastic.
I agree. It was an absolute wonderful, wonderful thing. Are we having crazy technical difficulties or what? Okay.
I'm here now.
Okay, we have Ben on the line, but
I had to lock the doors so my nieces and nephews don't come in and make a big noise. Kind of celebrating a birthday party over here.
Whose birthday?
My niece.
Is it a milestone event or just like a regular old thing?
No, she's 12.
Oh, the last year before teens. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
So anyway, I wanted to come on as you guys was about to talk about the main event for night 1, which I actually seen. I'll let you guys talk first, and then I'll go last.
Well, Anna's not in the call at the moment, so I don't know what
I
happened.
see her. She's there.
I don't at all. In the group chat, yeah. But not the call itself.
What
So
you
how
do
about
is
you
you click the plus sign and then you add her to it. It says she's in
the group chat, but not in the call. She's on her own call for some reason. Anna, are you back? Maybe. You're here. Okay, while we get this figured out, Ben, why don't you start talking about the Boneyard match? Unless nobody is here. Okay, then I'll start talking about the Boneyard match. What can I say? It was, like I just mentioned, it took 9 hours to shoot. The story goes, the area was only supposed to be used for a promo, but Triple H, liked it so much that they just the creative juices started flowing, from what I understand. So the Boneyard match was born. The entrance of AJ Styles coming in through the hearse, Undertaker's music playing, and then the opening of the casket, and you see it's AJ. It was a nice little, swerve. If you like to be tricked, I guess you could say. And then the Undertaker's entrance, coming down American Badass style, motorcycle, roaring down the road with Metallica playing. An epic entrance. And I think, for myself, that was one of the things I was really worried about. Is Undertaker going to have an amazing, epic WrestleMania entrance? If there's anything he is known for, by God, it's the WrestleMania entrance. And I think it really came off great. Then, of course, the banter, the telling of the story, the trash talking. Then the beatdown started. Undertaker punching his hand through a window, which reports indicate the injury wasn't a part of the plan. The cut on his arm. But I think it really added to the dramatic element. I thought honestly
that was real.
Yeah, that's the report. I thought it was just part of the show. I thought they'd used a little stage blood, make it look really awesome, breakaway glass, that kind of thing, and evidently not. So he legit cut his arm going through the glass and proceeded to beat the ever-loving snot out of AJ Styles until it got to the point where AJ couldn't move. So, what happens next? The OC
He
shows
got buried.
up. The only club that matters. And they have guys in robes come out and start to attack the Undertaker, which he just flattens with one punch each. And then that's when Gallows and Anderson, jump on Taker, and because they're not, I don't know, I guess because they're not minions, they're more like mid-level bosses. They didn't go down to one punch, and things actually turned. They started turning bad for the old Undertaker. HA got up, and it became a 3-on-1 assault, and you know what? Ben's saying in the chat, after his gash, they stopped to stitch him up and disinfect the wound. They continued shooting. You could tell not long after, most of the blood on Mark's arm was gone. Give it, bro. Give it. Anyway. Long story short, Undertaker, gains momentum. And they have this moment where Undertaker gives him kind of like a, you got balls, kid, kind of dealio. And it looks like he's about to just walk away and kind of let him be. And no. He gets unceremoniously kicked back into the grave and buried alive. With nothing but his hand, reaching out through the dirt. Like, Ben, you'll have to tell me what pay-per-view that was from the Buried Alive match. It was like an homage to that. Undertaker.
I thought that was a nice touch.
It very much was, and reports indicate that was all Taker's idea, that the homage part. And he hops on his motorcycle, raises his hand, and the pyro goes off. His symbol is, lasered onto the building. It was just, God, that was such an awesome, quote, match. Undertaker looked fabulous because, of course, editing. And I could see them doing so much just with this and Undertaker. Like, that's all Undertaker does from now on for WrestleMania. Not necessarily just a boneyard match, but just to have these nice cinematic vignettes building up to WrestleMania, where someone's searching for him, calling him out, and eventually, they find him. The young guns looking to take out the old man, and have him do this every year, because it was beautifully done, and I liked it very much. Any particular moments stand out for you?
For which one of us?
Ben's not in the call anymore.
Oh, okay. But there were a few I particularly like. The whole groveling from AJ, because let's face it, he likes to run his mouth.
Please don't bury me. Please don't bury me. It almost makes you forget that he thinks the Earth is flat or something.
He's groveling because groveling to the Undertaker is going to mean anything, right?
Yeah, for a guy that's been paying attention, he hasn't been paying attention.
No, not at all. I'm like, that ain't gonna work, dude. That's he's walking away. No, he's not walking away. Never mind. But the one thing I kind of wish they would have done, because AJ decided to run his mouth and bring Michelle into it. Michelle should have been in it.
What, be one of the reasons Taker gets his comeback, and she's driving something, then runs over Gallows and Anderson?
Maybe. Or, just come walking. I just wanted her to be involved because he decided to involve her.
Mm-hmm.
So she should have been able to get some kind of payback for him running his mouth. Even if it's just to come out of the fog, kick him in the balls, and ride off with Undertaker after he's buried, or be driving the John Deere tractor. Whatever.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not a bad idea. Not even in the least. It is a little surprising. They mentioned her a lot, and we didn't see anything about her or from her. I understand that from the Undertaker's perspective of, he's the big man, he's, her man, he's going to stand up for and do it all himself. It's just the old school way of thinking, pardon the pun.
Yeah, I can get that, but at the same time, as much as I didn't really like her character persona a lot of the time, she's a badass. And she can kick ass. And I kind of feel like they missed an opportunity.
Michelle McCool.
What?
Said I never thought I'd hear those words used to describe Michelle McCool.
Honestly, the way some of the divas are nowadays, I miss Lay Cool, and I never thought those words would ever come out of my mouth.
I never thought those words were even possible to be uttered. Wow.
It's just the way some of them are, it's like, wow, I kind of miss the entertaining BS antics of Lay Cool. I never thought I'd say that. Because it really annoyed me while it was happening. But it's not as bad as some of them are now.
Then how about we just real quick give a rating out of 10 for WrestleMania Night 1. What do you give it? We still on?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm thinking.
Well, think out loud so everybody can hear you, Anna.
It's been a while. Like years, remember?
Yeah, I do recall. Ben's starting to watch Night 1 right now. And of course, now he knows all the results. He probably knew already, though, because...
Probably.
Twitter is not forgiving for him.
Nothing's forgiven. Oh my god, my Facebook was blowing up with it, and I'm just like, dude, shut up, I'm watching it. But, like I said earlier, it's weird how much the crowd impacts it, and it's really weird how much you heard from them in the ring. I'm not used to that. Because normally the crowd, drowns that out.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of threw me off a little bit, and I'm not sure I'm a really big fan of that. During the Undertaker match, being able to hear what they said was cool. I mean, I realized I was done on purpose for that, but, the rest of them are normal matches.
Right.
You're not supposed to be able to hear the grunting and the groaning and the odd sounds that come from people wrestling.
Yeah, if you just listen to the audio of these things, it's borderline erotic.
It really is. I wasn't sure how you didn't tell me the rules. I wasn't sure what I was allowed to say.
Well, we don't go out of our way to use, bad language, I guess, is profanity. But that's never stopped Ben.
But I give it a 6.5 or a 7. It wasn't terrible, but I think they should have split the bigger matches between the two nights. It seems like the more low-key matches were on Saturday.
Undertaker, AJ, Strowman, Goldberg.
2 matches out of, 7?
9.
Okay, that's even worse.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And percentage-wise, they had 2 really huge matches, but those 2 matches really outshine the rest of the card as far as hype.
Yeah.
And importance.
And then poor Braun had no hype.
Sammy and Daniel, Cesaro and Drew, those guys, they were the guys that were made to put on a good WrestleMania match, except even pre-recorded, it just doesn't seem like they were given enough time.
No.
And the ladder match was still a pretty good spot fest. Had a really good amount of time, 18 and a half minutes. And it only had half the teams, or half the members of each team. So, thought it was pretty good.
Which, I mean, it's a cool way to do it. Which, I mean, okay, John was down a partner. Did they just pull the other halves because he was down a partner? I didn't understand what happened there.
I gotta be honest, I did not see SmackDown before Mania, so I didn't follow it either, but...
All I know is I think Miz got hurt.
Miz was sick.
Oh, that was it. But that doesn't explain why the other two teams lost members. I never saw why.
Yeah, neither did I, to be honest. Am I a bad fan? Maybe. But
then I'm
some of these shows have been a little difficult to watch without a crowd. And quite frankly, I just got so irritated with the WWE using Raw and SmackDown to air old pay-per-view matches. And using it to take up time, which, you know what, for a live show, fine. But why are you putting the old content on the Hulu cut? Especially with Raw, it's only 90 minutes to begin with. You already cut the show in half. So why does the old stuff have to be on the 90-minute cut?
That's a good question. I didn't know they were doing that.
Ben said the other halves of the teams couldn't make it due to travel restrictions and health issues.
Makes sense.
Had a hard time getting into Orlando, apparently. Which, yeah, that makes sense. But, you know what? We are 1 hour and 2 minutes into this thing right now. I think we're going to have to call it here, make this an episode about night 1 of WrestleMania, and tomorrow night pick up where we left off with night 2, if that's okay with you.
Should be.
Then that's what we'll do. In the meantime, thank you all for listening, if you were listening live. Ben, I know you're out there. Amber, hope you're doing okay. And tell the little fellas I said hello. Until next time, you can find me on Twitter at SkidComic. Ben's chiming in with everybody on Mania lives in Florida or plans to not leave Florida since COVID restrictions started. See, we got through this whole thing almost without talking about the virus. I think I said pandemic once. But Ben just had to bring it back. Where can people find you on Twitter, Hannah?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all Catwoman13618.
Okay, so you can find Ben on Twitter at YoBroMMO. And we will be back tomorrow night, hopefully a little bit earlier, because this guy still has to get up and go to work in the morning. No virus is going to keep me down. Okay, I didn't mean that to sound like cocky, arrogant, and stupid, because if you're listening to me and you can stay home, stay home. My job, I kind of need to go out there and well, I'm helping feed people. So, there's that. Until next time, tomorrow, I'm Josh. That over there is Anna. And I hope you all have a good night. Say goodnight, Anna.
Good night.